In this video, we're going to be restoring the Atari 2600 Asteroids cartridge label. Kind of doing what we did in previous videos, where we'll be taking artwork and cleaning it up, and then putting that artwork into the template for the actual cartridge label, and the end product will be something that looks good, looks clean, and something that we can put up on a website and people can download and print out themselves if they need a Asteroids cartridge label. Currently, I have 3 Asteroids cartridges in my Atari 2600 collection. As you can see by this image here, this is an actual scan of the front side labels of various cartridges, 2 of them being Asteroids. They don't look too bad. This version here, the artwork is kind of low res, which is something you'd expect, but it's also pretty dirty, pretty dingy. This one here is a little bit of the same. It's quite dull. Something like this would be really a lot of work to actually get back to its original look. And I also have a third one on this next scan here. This one too is another dingy looking image. So and this one's actually pretty blurred there. So what we're going to do, rather than use this artwork that's actually on the scanned cartridges, what I'll do is I've taken artwork that I found online. This is from the cover, the instructions for the Asteroids game, and as you can see, it's got a nicer looking image. You know, the colors and the brightnesses are pretty bright. But there are some differences between this artwork and the actual artwork that appears on the cartridge itself, in that there's colorization going on here. You don't get as much of the kind of yellow colors and green colors that you see on the original artwork. So the first step in getting this artwork onto a new cartridge label would be to take this artwork and make it look like the artwork that's on the original cartridge, and by that we would need to do some colorization as well as editing. As you can see, this artwork here has the model number of the cartridge plus some logo and slogans down the bottom here, which do not match how they appear on the actual cartridge. So we will need to add these back in once we have this background image produced, but also we will need to get rid of this this text here before we do anything. And also obviously we've got the this is a full cover. We'll need to crop this down. It's a little bit skewed. We'll need to align it. So there's a little bit of work that needs to be done to this image before we can throw it onto the cartridge label. And so what I will do is I will work on this image in this video, and then the next video, once the image is finished and looking good, I'll do a second video for Asteroids that will be the actual construction and production of the actual label itself in Photoshop. So the first order of business is to actually get this into Photoshop, which I've already done. I've already loaded the image into Photoshop. Obviously it's the full cover scan from the internet. And the first thing we will need to do is actually align the verticals and horizontals so that they look good. Right now it's a little bit skewed. It's a little bit skewed to the right, and we'll actually crop this down once we've aligned it vertically and horizontally. Crop it down so that we can just concentrate on the image itself. Get rid of the all this miscellaneous stuff around the outside here. So let me bring up. One other thing I've done is I've actually increase the DPI. The original DPI of the original scan from the internet was about roughly 90 DPI. All the scans that I scan in relation to these cartridges are all done at 300 DPI. So I've increased the DPI up to 300 for this image. So let's work on that verticals and horizontals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my grid, which will allow us to kind of eyeball what's going on here. And I've got a layer over here. This is the working layer, and then I've also got the original layer in the background there, if we need to go back to it. So let's first of all align this vertically and horizontally. So I'll zoom in a little bit. As you can see, the top edge of the actual artwork is kind of skewed to the right. So let's go ahead and adjust that. I'll zoom out a little bit, and then we'll do a little bit of a rotation counterclockwise to get this lined up here. Just kind of eyeballing it, and that looks roughly generally okay. Let's go check mark to that, and then yeah, not too bad. The vertical's a little bit kind of off. I think we're gonna have to live with that. Probably just due to the that's probably due to the curvature of the maybe the instructions as it was scanned. Maybe there's a little bit of curvature in the paper. So what we'll do next is I'm going to crop this as closely as possible to the original size without losing too much. There's a little bit of kind of an edge fringe here that looks like it's in yellow. We'll try cropping that out because that's not going to be on the original cartridge. And let's run with that. That looks pretty close. Let me crop it. I've got my crop bound to the F1 key, so we'll go crop there. And I don't see any kind of weird borders here after the crop, so I think that's good. I'm just going to go ahead and save that now. And we'll continue on. So the first order of business, before we do any kind of colorization here, well, let me get rid of the grid. There we go. Okay, so the first order of business is to get rid of this text, which is doesn't match the cartridge. So let's try this part down here first. And as you can see, it's a little bit blurry. But well, I'm going to use my favorite tool here, the clone stamp, since it's so good at doing stuff like this here. So what we'll be doing is pulling in image information from around this text and just kind of overriding it. So let me, I'm going to go with a slightly bigger brush for this, just to make it go by a little bit quicker. So we'll bump that up to 25. That looks about right. And then we'll just do some overriding here. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go with a high DPI on the initial editing here. We're seeing too much stuff here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop back You go back to the image size, and I'm going to drop it back to the original DPI here. I think that's it. Let me just double check. Working with too high a DPI will introduce other problems as well. Yeah, looks like I still got 300 DPI here. Okay, I'll tell you what, let me go back to the original image. And see what we got here. I think this is it here. Yeah, that's the original. And I think it's probably going to be easier just to work with the low DPI version for editing, and then we can bump it up once we get it into the label template. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that looks. Let me just verify that this is. Yeah, 96 DPI. So that's okay. We'll work with that. We'll activate the layer, and we'll get a grid up. We'll do the alignment of the image again. Let's go with View, Show Grid, and there we go, back again. And then we'll do a little bit of an alignment here. Let me add a little bit of a background as independent. Okay, let's do that again. And we'll do a little bit of a rotation, counterclockwise. Oops. There we go. And we align the top of the image with the grid there. Go. Need to go a little bit more. A little bit twitchy. Yeah, looks about right. Let's see what that looks like. Not bad. A little bit more perhaps. Another pixel or two. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I'm going to run with that. Let's go ahead and crop the image down to get rid of the stuff around the outside we don't need. And we'll do a crop, F1 crop. There we go. Let's save that out. File save. And we'll save that as a Photoshop. Let's overwrite that one. Yes. Okay. Okay, let's try this again down the bottom here. Let me get rid of my grid so it doesn't distract us too much here. Okay, the grid is gone. Alright, so we need to eliminate this text here, so let's try that again. And we'll work with the actual pixels. So let's go to the stamp tool. This one's a little bit too big. Let me drop the size down a little bit here. Okay, that's too small. Let's go up a bit. Alright, let's run with that. So, let's try this again. That's better. We're not getting the as much of a noticeable circle like we were before. Let's jump that up a bit. There we go. Really just kind of trying to guess what the background would be. Break it up a little bit there. So it looks like we've got a bit of an asteroid here that we need to go up to the edge on the background. As you can see, the background's quite heavily pixelated, which sometimes works in your favor when you're doing retouching work. Okay, so a little bit. Try to break this up a little bit down here. Make it look a little bit more random. Okay, and I think what we'll do here, rather than, well, actually it looks like the asteroid is in the back of the text here, so we'll try to bring this asteroid down to the very edge. There we go. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, looks okay to me. Let's save that. File save. I'm going to save as I go here, just in case there's a power outage. We have a lot of power outages here in California. Okay, now this here should go by pretty quickly. We've got a lot of text we need to eliminate, and we can do that and use the same technique as before. Just to kind of pull in the background over the top of the text. And as this text is pretty chaotic, the background's pretty chaotic, we can easily do that. Just keep folding in the background over the top. Try to make it look as if it kind of keeps some of the textures going in the right direction. So it looks like clouds here on the surface of the planet. Very handy tool, this stamp tool, for doing this type of work. There are other tools in Photoshop that you could use. You could use the algorithms to actually that are built in to actually pretty much do a good job of this automatically, but I like to do it manually. This version of Photoshop is a little bit on the old side. It's came out in about 2012. It's Photoshop CS6, but as I've said in other videos, it's I've worked with it in this version for so long. It does everything I need it to do. Although the newer Photoshops do have some nicer noise elimination algorithms, but for cleaning up images, but I think a lot of the time that's more with to do with high resolution photographs is what that's good for. Okay, we almost got rid of Warner Brothers here. So that looks okay so far. Let's get rid of this thing. Again, it's a little bit tedious, this type of work, but if you take your time and you're not in a rush, you'll end up with something that's pretty good looking. We've got kind of a yellow line coming through here, so we'll kind of try to maintain that. A little bit of yellow cloud. I don't know whether that's just yellowing off the actual artwork in the background, you know, over time on the original cover, or whether that's supposed to be there. Who knows? This scan ain't perfect either, so we'll have a quick look around once this is once we've edited this, just to make sure there's no scratches or damage to the actual catalog. Okay, that looks okay. All right, so next let's get rid of. Let me save this before we go any further. There we go. Okay, so now we just need to eliminate the black Atari logo. I'm going to go with a slightly bigger brush here. We'll go with about a 20 maybe. 24, 15, 20. There we go. Let's try that. Let's go by a little bit faster. And like I say, just kind of fold the background into the where the actual logo is. ocean coming through the middle here. Let me grab a bit of dirty ocean there. Cloud. We'll break this up a bit more in a minute once we get the grab this bit of cloud here and just kind of extend it upwards. So it looks like there's a little bit of a bar of cloud running lower left to upper right. Okay, yeah, that looks a little bit, as you can see, the stamp tool, we've ended up with some cloud that's looks kind of cloney there, so we'll just break it up a bit. Same with this lot here. I'm going to go with a smaller brush now. And we'll just do a little bit of breaking up. Just use a little bit of artistic license. A lot of this detail, once we get it onto the label, will disappear anyway, but for the purposes of restoring the artwork, we'll put this up on the website, and if you want the original image, you can download it and edit it some more if you wish. Okay. Not too bad. Now this area here looks a little bit not quite as good, so I'm just gonna break it up a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. Make it look a little bit more random down there. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. Not too bad. Let's save that. File save. Okay, let's just take a quick look around since we're in kind of like edit mode right now. The final mode will be playing with the colorization to get it to match the label, the original label scan. Just kind of going in and out here to see if there's any damage to the actual paper. I don't see anything. This looks kind of weird here. Not sure what that's all about. Anyway, I'll leave it. Yeah, I don't really see any problems. Okay, so the next step's going to be all about colorization. Let me save that. Already saved. Okay, so let's bring in the original. We'll use, I think this one here looks a little bit more contrasty. Yeah, I think I'll use this as a kind of guide, this scan of the original cartridge. So we need to actually make the artwork a lot darker. So let me resize Photoshop so we can look at these a little bit more side by side. Yeah. Get rid of Windows Explorer. Okay, so yeah, we need to make this one quite a bit darker. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate the layer. So we can always get back to the original if I completely screw things up. Save that. Okay, so we need to make, as you can see, we've got a lot more kind of yellow colors present here. Really the only yellow in this image is this kind of laser beam thing, plus maybe the fin of the spaceship, the elevator or whatever it is in the background there. So we need to pretty heavily colorize this to get it so that it's much darker and bluer. So that's we're going to have to do a little bit of trial and error here. So what we'll do is we'll go in and probably do a little bit of levels here to get the shadows darker. So let's just play with that for a little bit. So I'll increase the darkness of the image a little bit. As you can see, that's did a pretty good job right there. If we compare this area here on the original to this area here, imagine this is a little bit less blue. This is less saturated there, so we'll play with it a little bit here. That's not too bad. If we get the blue a little bit less blue, I think that'll look pretty good right there. Still got a lot of yellows here, but let's go with that. And we can play with the colors a little bit here. So let's go to adjustments, and we'll go to color balance. And really, what we want to do is try to eliminate as much of these yellows as possible. So what I'll do, there's a handy little slider here where we can adjust some color values, and there are three levels that we can work with. Right here we're working with the midtones, so I'll try to make those a little bit more blue, and that's doing a pretty good job. We can jump to the highlights and do the same for those, and do the shadows. Yeah, that does a pretty nice job. Moving away from the yellows, going more to the blue, and we'll do the same. Let's try it with yeah, it's going a little bit too far there. Just kind of play with these a little bit, see if they help or hinder. Yeah, we don't want to go too far into the red here. So we are eliminating the yellows a little bit. I think we're going to end up with more yellow than the original cartridge scan. We may be able to get rid of them a little bit using a different technique in a minute. So let's go okay there. Not bad. It looks kind of nice and vivid. Let's save that. And yeah, compared with the original, there we go. So we've made it quite a bit bluer. Still got the yellows here, which we can try to eliminate. It's nice and bright, this version. This explosion and the planet look good, but I think we're going to have to tone down the colors. So the best way to do that is to go to adjustments, go to hue and saturation. And we can just drop the saturation down. Now the saturation will basically reduce the intensity of colors. So let's drop that down here. Let's see what that looks like. As you can see, it's doing a pretty good job. Yeah. It's a little bit more vivid than this scan. Let's go down a little bit more. I'd say that's pretty accurate right there. You look at the colorization here and the colorization there, although this one's nice and much cleaner looking. You can see more detail. Yeah, looks pretty good. I think with this version you can see a little bit. There are some yellows here which correspond to these yellows here, and I think we'll leave that there. Same's true for this part of it here. You can see that there's yellow in there and yellow in here. So that was actually, didn't take too much to get it kind of looking good here. It matches. We still got the colors of these asteroids that are burning up. They still look yellow. The actual laser beam, the tail looks good. The brightness looks good. We're a little bit brighter on the asteroid. That's okay. I assume that some of the lack of brightness on the actual cartridge itself is just due to the cartridge being pretty, dulling over the years. So the fact that this is a little bit brighter is good. This looks pretty good. I'm going to bump the saturation up a little bit more, just to make it look a little bit cleaner and crisper. There we go. I think that looks good. Now the only thing I will say is this looks a little bit more purple than blue, so I think probably what I'll do, let's go OK to that, let's save it, is play with the color balance again, just to maybe get rid of a little bit of the red tones. So let's go back to image, adjust, and then we go to color balance again, back to our 3 levels. And what I'll do, maybe make it a little bit more green. Yeah, that's doing the trick right there. Maybe a little bit too far. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. The brightnesses look good. That went by pretty quick. I was expecting it to take more time to get it to match the colors back here, but that went by pretty good. Yeah, looks good to me. I'm going to go OK to that. Let's save that version. File save, and yeah, we'll see what this looks like when it's thrown into the label template in the next video. So I'm going to leave this video here, and the next video we'll take this artwork and throw it into the template, the label template, and regenerate the text here and the text here, and get ourselves a top label, which we have here. These are the scans of the top of the cartridges. As you can see, they're pretty dirty. So yeah, there's asteroids there. That one's pretty ripped up. Probably going to use this one as a template to get the spacing of the text in the next video, and yeah, I think we're there. So we'll see you on the next video.